All right, let's talk about H Town. H Town. This represents a cross between ages when you go through a regime change, an automatic new way of doing things. You get what we can even call Triple H, like the wrestler. You got the Hierophant, the reverse Hierophant, and the Hustler. And put the Hustler right in the middle. So it's Hierophant, Hustler, reverse Hierophant. Social engineering at its finest. So you have what is known as the Hierophant. Let's start with the Hierophant, right? The Hierophant is the tarot card, the first of the tarot cards that deal with more than the self. So now you're dealing with expanding your circle. You're dealing with a sense of community. You're dealing with your master teachers. You're dealing with your community organizers, your formers. You're dealing with very Aquarian energy in terms of allies and allied energy and synergy, really, is what you're dealing with when you come into the world of the Hierophant. So the Hierophant works perfectly as a king's advisor, as a cupbearer, because of its attention to detail when it comes to organizing the whole. Very good administrators, very good caretakers, possessing gifts of hospitality, being able to be a good host, a good hostess. The Great Gatsby can put on a party you'll never forget. The Hierophant, the one who instills tradition and values, society. This is the Hierophant. So in American history, you had imagery of the Hierophant played on TV. You had a lot of family-oriented entertainment. And this orientated or family-oriented entertainment was to shape what was called the American family, to give you the picture of the American dream, which included the American family. What is it? The house, the picket fence, the dog, the two-car garage, the husband, the wife, the son, the daughter, everything being equal, being cookie cutter, and situated to paint an image of the American family. In this, you had the floating H, the hustler, the capitalist, your Carnegies, your J.P. Morgans, your John Paul Gettys. You had the hustler that was the main catalyst, the only one who could actually actualize the American dream. Once upon a time, though, when wages were a lot better in measure to cost of living, you had workers, not hustlers, not just hustlers, but workers able to accomplish a piece of the American dream, to be able to at least get into the house, if not own it, but at least able to get into the house and move the family in so that they could also, the working class, the middle class, be a part of the American dream. But as you find out later in history, not necessarily owning any components of the American dream as it pertains to the perks. So this floating H of hustler is the main propagandist in pushing what is called the American dream, because the hustler acquired the items that provided the framework of the American dream. So now the Hierophant is put in a predicament because the Hierophant is beginning to go through a transmutation as money trumps tradition, as it becomes more about corporations than community. Now the Hierophant is conflicted. What is the Hierophant to do? Because it's being molded by the floating H of the hustler that goes between times, the nagging of the root chakra telling you to earn, 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 achieve, achieve, achieve. You got to make bank. You got to make bank. And so the Hierophant is conflicted. And as corporations become more prevalent and the figures and the numbers become more skewed and the scales become more tipped in another direction, now you have the other character, which is the reverse Hierophant. So now there's a fourth man that slips into this, really a fifth man that slips into this to rescue the people from the effects of disenchantment, of disillusionment, when they're just stuck between a rock and a hard place. Here comes the Archangel Samael, accompanied by Asmodeus. Samael is known as the venom of God. Now he comes down to the Hierophant who's dealing with the broken family, the broken status quo, seeing something that trumps his or her tradition. And as the Hierophant is stuck between a rock and a hard place, being forced to go from Hierophant to hustler, here comes Samael the Black in just the nick of time to convince he or she that this is all an illusion, is all one game. The rat race was never intended to lead anywhere. It's just a wheel that you're running on. So Samael begins to slip these ideas, and Asmodeus cements the breaking of the bonds from the Hierophant in the old world to the reverse Hierophant in the new world. The reverse Hierophant breaks down the old structures, clears out the debris so that there can be room for new structures with a new foundation in its place. It takes the venom of being able to switch your ways from old to new, to be able to adopt from something that is outdated and antiquated to something that is brand new and updated. This takes the Samael and Asmodeus energy. Asmodeus breaks the bonds, and Samael breaks the illusion. So now the Hierophant, going through the waves of the hustlers. And a hustler is not the same thing as a worker. A hustler is more concerned about quicker, faster money, jumping more from this thing to that thing, representing more of the entrepreneur than the worker. The worker is the employee. You're not a hustler going to the same job 9 to 5. So it's a grind, yes, but grinding and hustling are not the same. There's some nuance there. Grinding is simply a hard worker. You're working hard. You're on your grind. That's not the same thing as hustling. Hustling is you're trying to go chase the money. You're hustling for it. To hustle is to move quickly. You're moving quickly after what? After the next money-making opportunity. That's not the same thing as a worker. A worker doesn't necessarily jump from this thing to that. A worker is more concerned about doing a particular task over and over. More associations are pointing to that with a worker versus a hustler. So I thought it'd be important to make that distinction also. So the hustler is involved in the transmutation of the Hierophant to the reverse Hierophant. Now we see traditions have to be broken down, that rules have to be reinvented, that there are new regulations, there are new guidelines, there are new signposts. We're in a new age. Money is being looked at in a new way. Currency is being looked at in a new way. Barter and trade is being looked at in a new way. We have a new syllabus for economics, for worldly economics. There's a new curriculum now. You see that? So it's requiring the breaking down of the old traditions, which is the Hierophant in reverse. There's community that has to be disbanded. You need Samael and Asmodeus energy. There are certain restrictions and censorships that have been placed on you from the old world that have to be broken in order for you to get a footing in the new world. And it's going to take Samael energy and Asmodeus energy. There are certain stigma that are placed on you with an invisible ceiling that is trying to determine how high you should go in this life. And that has to be broken and shattered by Samael energy and Asmodeus energy, because you have to be reversed. You're the Hierophant. You got it. You learned the first lesson. You got it. You made it out of the church. You got it. You made it from the mosque. You got it. You made it out of the synagogue. You got it. You learned the Hierophant. You have your family. You understand community. You understand brotherhood, sisterhood. You got that lesson. Now, as the floating H of the hustler keeps the times around you in place, now you have to reverse. Can you break from not your faith, but can you break from your religion? Can you break from your social group? Now, can you break into a new circle? Can you be completely Saturnian? Can you be completely Mercurial? Can you be uh, completely Machiavellian? Are you able to reinvent yourself? Are you able to jump? Are you able to be the Lord of the Rings? Can you jump from ring to ring to ring? Can you move throughout the rings, throughout the circles, throughout the cycles? Are you able to move through? Are you able to reverse your hierophancy? Are you able to turn the tables? Because this is how you handle it. You're going from a hierophant to a reverse hierophant. And all the while, the idea of currency, income, barter, and trade is being balanced out by the hustler. The hustler is keeping the times alive around you. But as far as the sustenance of those times within you, you're going to have to get your H's balanced. The hierophant from the reverse hierophant. And then once things begin to stabilize and we have some sense of community return, if that should happen, then we'll start getting more and back into rebuilding, going back into the Hierophant energy, going back into the Hierophant energy from the reverse Hierophant. Right now, things still have to be torn down. Structures have to be torn down. Old regimes have to be torn down. So we're in reverse Hierophant energy. But once that's cleared away, which is why you want to keep both H's at play, you're going to need the Hierophant all over again. Flipping the card, flipping the card. A few years on this side, a few years on that side, maybe even a few months on this side, a few months on that side. Whatever the circumstance calls for, just make sure your H's match your hustle. Again, this is Super T Sigma with Sigma Programming. I thank you for your time and attention. Over here, reaching is teaching. Continue to vibrate high, people. Peace.